Every month, an estimated 1,500 Ivorian nationals seeking a better life in Europe reach the Italian shores, and that's according to the Ivorian Interior Ministry. A government official is concerned that the figure provided by Italian authorities, which represents a third of total arrivals, is alarming. Figures from the International Organization for Migration show that nearly 9,000 Ivorian nationals reached the Italian shores from January to September this year. The IOM's estimate appears to confirm the number provided by the Ivorian Ministry of Interior. The Ivorian official is worried that the exact figure of Ivorian nationals trying to reach Europe might be much higher, saying there is no estimate for those who have died crossing the desert or the ocean. And the United Nations Chief Ban Ki-moon has warned against the continuous mass killings in South Sudan. It says the country is at risk of mass atrocities being committed following the sharp rise in hate speech and ethnic incitement in recent weeks. He adds that peacekeepers would resort to all necessary means to protect civilians, but does not have the appropriate manpower or capabilities to stop mass atrocities. Earlier this month, the UN boss sacked the commander of the UN force in South Sudan after a report said it had failed to protect civilians during violence that broke out in the capital, Juba, in July. And Doctors Without Borders say around 100 people are missing and feared to have drowned in the Mediterranean after a migrant dinghy capsized off Libya. The medical charity tweeted that some survivors were rescued by the Bourbon Argus ship. The Bourbon Argus ship is one of 3 rescue ships with the MSF teams in the central Mediterranean. And delegates at the UN Climate Conference have marked the African Day. The leaders of the continent met on the sideline of the conference for the African Climate Summit in Marrakesh, where several issues affecting the continent were discussed. Our correspondent Ayola Kassim reports from Marrakesh.
Africa is the region that least contributed to climate change, but it is the worst hit by its impact.
The Honorable Minister.
At the 2016 Climate Conference in Marrakesh, the leaders and the citizens of the continent have decided not to be followers, instead reformers and incubators of new ideas.
Heads of states and governments and ministerial has led since 2015 has led African efforts with the African Group of Negotiators to develop an African adaptation initiative to scale up global support for adaptation and addressing loss and damages in Africa, along with the African Renewable Energy Initiative, in order to reflect African leadership in addressing climate change.
The celebration started with the Africa Renewable Energy Initiative, which was inaugurated in Paris in 2015. The president of the African Development Bank asked the leaders to work towards balancing the energy mix that will bring about the industrialization that the continent desires.
Africa must power up itself to add value to what it produces, speed up industrialization, and move to the top of global value chains. This must start with unlocking the huge potentials of energy on the continent, including Africa's vast potentials in renewable energy as well as non-renewable energy. Africa simply needs energy, period.
President Muhammadu Buhari, represented by the Minister of Environment, said that despite all the challenges, Africa shall endeavor to deliver its pledges with continuous and adequate support from developed countries.
In spite of the global downturn and our own budgetary constraints domestically, we are committing a reasonable part of our 2017 capital budget to this effort. The 2017 budget will be a green budget that will reflect Nigeria's efforts to realize our NDC. In addition, we are set to launch our first ever sovereign green bond in the first quarter of 2017. This is intended to fund a series of projects targeted at reducing emissions for a greener economy and embedded in our NDC.
Later, leaders across Africa expressed a strong determination to protect the continent's future. They have decided to speak with one voice and join forces to fight climate change and increase the continent's resilience. One after the other, the leaders also confirmed their ambitions to embark on a path to sustainable emergence by building Africa's own inclusive and sustainable development model. Ayola Kasim reporting for Channels Television News.